Welcome to the Game of Life. I'm Andrew Mwanguhya, and today I'm truly honored to host one of Uganda's basketball royalty. Well, a rebounding beast, a perimeter sniper, coach, mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, the only Nomo Mulalu, Stephen Okiasi. Welcome to the Game of Life.
Thank you so much.
Be happy, Joe.
Jokuna.
Yoga swap.
Ebo.
Where do we start? We are honored to have you because you're one of our very first guests on the show.
Well, that's a wonderful.
And you have quite a number of following. We made sure that we bring you here and people get to reconnect with the old times. I don't know even where we start. We've talked about it. Rebounding beast, perimeter, sniper, and of course that signature laugh.
Yeah.
Let's start. I mean, two-time champion with Warriors. You did have a little stint here with the national team. We'll talk about that later as well. But this man who is always wearing a smile, and sometimes people wonder, do you even have any problems? Played basketball at the very highest level in the country.
Indeed.
Inspired several. Just where did this start? Let's start. I like going back to what I call the kitchen. Where were you cooked? Where did this start? How were you influenced to actually even play the game? Let's start right at home.
Home?
Yeah.
Family?
Yes.
I have brothers and sisters. 3 brothers, 3 sisters. We are 7 in the family. My parents passed on actually when I just finished high school. My mom actually in 94 when I was just a 14-year-old. My dad when I was in campus, 2003. Yeah, so they didn't actually get to watch a lot of basketball that I played. Yeah, actually my sister, the youngest sister and my youngest brother who actually watched me in 2009. Yeah,
the championship here.
Yeah. But also, what contributed to the absence a lot was my knee problems. When I actually just getting off, somebody told me I shouldn't involve myself in sports. I could actually end up being amputated. And there was that threat in home and I'm just getting started and, the fun of something new in your life and all that. And I couldn't stay away from it, even with the threat that was thrown at me. I still kept going at it and basically I had to go behind my family's back to engage in basketball in those first years.
Anyone in your family played basketball?
No, I'm not sportsman.
So where did you get it from?
No, where I go to Kyambogo College.
Okay.
Kyambogo College, yeah. When I joined Kyambogo College, we were shooting around a bit, but I think it really broke out in senior 3. Getting close, becoming a close friend of Shell Opera. Yeah, we started doing literature together. Actually, I shouldn't have done literature. I should have done political education. Then I wasn't around when they registered guys for political education. So when I came there, I was not just for literature.
That's at Makerere.
Literature in English, no, in Kyambogo.
Kyambogo, okay.
Yeah, so being people were doing literature together, basketball also became a kind of identity that we did together as a team. And Shell was an established player, played at YMCA. So there was an inspiration for me, being a friend and somebody who had really played the game way more than me.
Did you think that you would play basketball as the real thing, like even national? I mean,
no, it was just something that you did at that time that brought you guys together. So in Kyambogo, after school, you go down to that time it was ITEC before it became Kyambogo University. You get to the basketball court and you're doing that. And it was also a noble thing, maybe it was a class kind of thing, like breaking out from high school where everything is just about soccer and then you have this something different from the norm.
Okay. Yeah. And then you graduate into that team, the Kyambogo Warriors team, 1999, right?
Yeah.
Was the team part of the school? Was it a club?
No, Kyambogo was actually, Kyambogo Warriors came out of Kyambogo family.
Okay.
Yeah, people the parents were lecturers, were working in Kyambogo University, ITEC at that time. And they used to have these games, lower estate and upper estate. So basically they had this Kyambogo family thing and they actually made a team out of it. That's how Warriors came up. So basically, everybody who had studied Kyambogo College or at Kyambogo University or ITEC at that time, I was staying around Kyambogo, Chireka, because it was the only nearest basketball court around. Basically, just got affiliated to the team.
And then that is 1999.
Yeah.
You go on, play for Kyambogo.
Yeah.
Throughout.
Of
course, there's that break where you went to Ndeji and also then retired and then came back in the lower division with old timers. But Kyambogo, 18 years playing and then mutating into a coach in 2017. Just that Kyambogo, and why give it all your time and life?
Like I told you, basketball was something you did as a team, as friends. It was something that knotted you together. Yeah, it was an identity thing. It was fun. It was also a chance to explore life, express yourself maybe. And at that time, basically, you built a family, kind of family out of those people that you're playing. There was Brotherhood. It was so close. And basically depended on each other to have that fun because you couldn't be on the court alone. And that sort of identity, that earlier setup, created that connection with each other. And you basically felt like betraying family if you're leaving to go join another team. That's how it felt at that time. It was purely passion. And it's not like these days when there's so many opportunities of bursaries that maybe you'd be understanding if somebody got a bursary somewhere. It was not there.
Yeah.
So basically you'd have to leave a family to go join another family. That would be like betrayal. It just couldn't happen, yeah.
And just before you forget, the family of 7, and of course I can see now there's another family at Kyambogo.
Okay.
Where were you born? Is it in Kampala?
No, in Ngora.
Ngora.
Yeah, my
which part of Uganda is that?
High School. That is Kumi district. It's now a fully fledged district.
Okay.
Yeah, Ngora district.
Perhaps time you go back and contest. But yeah, so the family of Kyambogo.
Okay.
When do you remember Kyambogo starting in the league? So you were part of them for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But when did they, as a club, actually
join the
part
league?
of it? Yeah.
It should have been 97, 96, 97. Because I remember I should have been senior 1, senior 2. Yeah, there were guys who were playing at that time. But it was still under just Kyambogo family, just the family guys. So it wasn't much about guys who were coming from out. And it was just fun.
And the time from when you joined in 1999 to 2009, how tough was it, especially being new in the league, you being new in top flight, but also the near misses and trying to push for the championship? Those first 9 years, how tough were they? How did you handle them as you and the club?
Perhaps the emotion of losing, of course, a full season, it weighs heavy on you because, you know, you have to start afresh. You know, when you build something and you're hopeful you could actually get off the cliff, then you have to start again. And then there's wearing that thing for about 5 months, you know, the losers. It was big for us. But it also brought us together, you know, the identity, you know, sharing that burden of loss. And believing you could actually do this, turning to each other, knowing, you know, at the end of every season you will despair, of course, but then you're thinking, we can't come up. And like I'm telling you, it was a kind of familiar thing. So you're looking at power guys at that time, they were very established, and you're thinking, you must be thrown Falcons.
Yeah.
They were the established teams, they were the guys you're competing with, like sharing youth. So you're looking at them and you're thinking, this challenge we have together to do something, you know, to reclaim what we think is ours, or be where we believe we should be, at the table of the big guys. So the losses were there. They should have broken us, but they've created a resilience in the team and the brotherhood, because inch by inch, as we went, you know, picking up some wins, you know, I remember the first win against Power, just the first win beating Power. It was a good feeling. It was like a trophy on its own.
Wow.
But it also now affirmed in us, you know, that sense of we can do this. We can actually go beyond. It's no longer just a dream, you know, something you throw at yourself, you know, just to get on court and maybe hype yourself up. But it was something you could see, okay, now we can do this. These are the champions. These are the guys who contest at the top level. And we beat them, okay, this big deal.
Ambrose Tashovia at the time, of course, big part of the family. In those moments, I know him to be that guy who actually speaks to you when things are not going.
I remember the biggest speech he ever gave us was 2008, and I remember we were so hopeful we're going to beat Falcon. First day was 2007, so close with one. It was a game of 5 series, and then we took the first 2. Falcons came and beat us 3, and we were not yet there.
Mentally, how destructive? I mean, that must have destroyed you.
You see, it was a reality check. It was like someone saying, "Hey, you can fall off the cliff. You can't take anything for granted." And we had actually taken it for granted because that season were bulldozing, were really that, and everybody was looking at us, people who had actually made it, and we thought we had made it before we actually went over the cliff. And that was a reality check. So we realized you have to actually hold that trophy. You have to actually hear that final whistle to know you're there. So for me, it wasn't the biggest of losses to me, because I like the lesson that I picked from it and the whole team. The biggest lesson was the next year, 2008. So we feel we've learned lessons, and we thought they would guide us. But then now we get the injuries. I remember I sprained an ankle. Brian Gumisiriza had sprained his knee. Ronnie Kasewu was also injured. And so with what you think you had acquired, you still fall short. So we're really overtaken by this despair. It's a kind of helplessness that you feel that how can I be ready to do everything with all these lessons and still I fall short. And so I remember him telling us, look, there's next season. The best thing is now we are at the finals. Second time, I think we lost at the semi-finals, but we shall get to the finals. But we're so inconsolable at that day because there's nothing that could have affirmed our beliefs in each other and not to give us that triumph apart from the championship. So when they kept talking, of course we were listening, but we're thinking, no, that's not enough. That was not.
That must have been a long preseason. 2008. And then the year 2009, it happened. The Holy Grail.
Wow.
Your first championship with Warriors.
So emotional remembering now, trying to relive those emotions. Yeah. So everything that had happened. Actually, those 2 seasons, I should say, were really a book of lessons. One, you're so young in mind, so impressionable. Then you must factor in the injuries also. So anything is possible, but you still have to give it all. You have to come out and give it your all. So 2009, the biggest deal was acquisition of Dulah and Martin.
Oh yes.
That was the impetus we needed. The team was scrolling over the cliff, then they just came and that whiff, not actually push, but just that whiff of air that just pushed us over the cliff.
Tell me more about Dulah. He wasn't just about the game. He had something extra mentally.
Dulah was a fun guy to be with.
Yeah. And then he met you.
It was a perfect fit because you see, Warriors, we had, a myriad kind of disciplines, that really made us. We were a fun team. We cracked jokes at everything. But then when the moment came when we needed to step up and play basketball, when the basketball needed of us to really play at a high level, we did. And so for somebody to be able to incorporate the humor with the seriousness of the demand of championship, pursuit for championship, that was what made us as Warriors. We could have fun when we needed to have it while it lasted. Then we needed to get serious, and Dulah fitted in. He was a moving comedian.
Dulah is the type of guy, we are talking Abdullahi Ramadan.
Yeah, yes.
If you wanted someone to go to war with, it was Dulah.
It was Dulah.
Especially against Power and Falcons.
Yes. He cracked the jokes when he had to, and then he inspired because he had been, playing at the highest level than we had it. And so it was good having him there in those tense moments, especially when he took on Power. Even when he took on Falcons, I remember we won 2, then they came and won the game 4. And it was that way, it takes back you to those seasons when you're dying. And I remember sitting with Brian Gumisiriza at the end of game 4, and he was thinking, okay, are we the jinx guys? Can we just retire and maybe Warriors will win? And YMC, we didn't have much of lights at that time. So you're playing the game and it gets dark, everybody has moved and you don't want to walk out of YMC. And you're thinking back at what had happened the previous season and you think, I don't want it to happen again. So when it came for game 5, we were beasts. I remember it now. So emotional, remember it. We were beasts. We were carrying so many scars, and these guys had really turned and attached on a wounded lion, and they'd actually taken our hopes, killed our hopes in 2007.
Yeah.
So we're looking at guys who were an impediment to our pursuit for joy. And we said, you can't take that from us.
And then you were the darling of the neutrals because people wanted the hegemony of Falcons and power broken.
Guys had seen us struggle through those seasons, just qualifying for playoffs at that time. And we're a young team. We're mainly having young guys. And we didn't have these names at that time because the names were attached to power, attached to Falcons, attached to Rhinos. They were the guys who could attract anybody of repute who wanted to join basketball in those teams. So we're just a struggling, cluster of guys who believed in themselves. And guys kind of had identified with us. Like guys who are pursuing for something. And I know maybe in their personal lives also they're having those pursuits that they really wanted to be defined in the way that we're trying to define our season by being relentless. And so it endeared us to so many guys at that time.
Should I say it's your best championship of the two?
It was.
It was. Then they say you can accidentally get to the top, but keeping there is where you're really counted.
Yeah.
Come 2010, 2011, you are knocked off your perch, like the great man I always refer to, saying Sir Alex Ferguson knocking Liverpool off their perch. But 2010 was tough, 2011 was tough, but you showed your resilience, your mettle, and came back in 2012, your second championship.
I think, that momentum we created towards 2009 kept pushing us, and there's still, nuggets of that in the team. Getting in 2012, I feel like it was just a push from the back, from those years that had happened before that. And winning it wasn't, not that it has happened in 2009, being our first and the kind of team. Now this was a different setup of team. We're really having now the names. Now we're the new power blockers, topping the league and attracting every possible, high reputation person in the
We are talking 2012.
Yeah, 2012, having Norman Blick, Donald Blick, Henry Malinga, Eric, Cyrus Chiviri, Ivan Enabu, that was adding to our already established cast. Ronnie Kasewu, Ronnie Kasewu, Judo Cheng, Brian Gumisiriza, the Joshua Talus, Afula,
That was a team.
It was a team.
Of course, coached by Mande Juruni, another coaching legend.
Indeed.
How special was that team?
That team, we had a good person for every position, most of the position. I remember there was a stretch of games where Norman was playing 3, starting every game. Then there was a stretch where I was starting every game, and you'd hardly tell the difference. Because even with our different, skill set, when you fit somebody into the hole that Warriors would be, switches in the team, you would really see somebody who's actually delivering. So it wasn't like the 2009 or pre-2009 when they had to really depend on me and Ronnie Kasewu to do much of the scoring. Now we had a full set in most of the positions. Yeah.
It was deep.
Yeah, it was deep.
How significant was Mande Juruni?
Mande Juruni was a good guy. It was a good guy. Sometimes you need somebody who's come on the side, and sometimes you can push you hard at it. And he had been through with the UCU team. He had been through, I think, with KCC. Was it KCC? He had coached a ladies team before. Yeah, so he had coached a couple of teams, and he had the experience of Rhino. Somebody who came out of charging Rhino at that time was really equipped in basketball, because he had come from the academy. So his personality was calm and good for the team. Because if you're having so many skilled guys in the team, you really need to come to be able to marshal them, to championship and not have to rub the egos wrong. We didn't actually have a time when egos rub wrong.
We've talked about Dulah. Of course, the Nabus do not need introduction. The Malingas do not need introduction. There's another gentleman who doesn't need introduction, but I want us to talk to him because you played with him. You were quite focal in that team. And that's the legend, Ronnie Kasewu.
Ronnie Kasewu, left-handed
He's
assassin.
three that kiss the net.
Left-handed assassin.
Yes.
He was massive. He was massive. See, it's the closest you have to Ben Komakech. Only that, okay, played before Ben Komakech. But a point guard who is that sniper who waits for the moment to kill you. That was him. Yeah, he would take his moment. He wasn't somebody whose aura was speaking, oh, I'm a superstar, or I'm deadly, or something like that. He killed you silent, and he kept coming at you, and he was not so showy, and he would do the right thing that you needed somebody to do in this position. Rebounding, he was big on the rebounding. He could shoot when he needed to shoot at three-pointer. He could take that right, pick the fouls. He could even take on the number threes on defense. So he was really an all-rounded, very prolific player for us.
Where is he right now?
He's right now in Mukono.
He's
doing some
still
business,
in
yeah.
Business.
Yeah.
You need to tell him about the game of life.
I will.
He needs to be here.
I know. I will.
Ronnie Kasewu.
Yeah.
He was, several players who were with Warriors. We are trying to locate them here and there, but we'll get to the Warriors point at some point. Injuries. You were very good at your craft. On the rebound, you were just, you were a beast. Also, you are calling Ronnie Kasewu a sniper. You were a sniper on the perimeter as well.
Yeah,
But then, every time you came to the court, you had your knees strapped.
knee pad.
And sometimes I wondered, anytime,
I know. I know. Like
how did you handle that?
Like I'm telling you, right from childhood, I've always had bad problems. It's problems with the knees. Yeah, so it always came in and out. Sometimes you felt, okay, I could go on, but you always needed those knee pads. It was the biggest problem I ever faced. Sometimes the ankle problems also, you'd sprain an ankle, but recurrent was the knees. Yeah, but you see, at that time, we like, it's happening right now. We never really had this overbearing presence of, or leadership in the team that could maybe restrain you. And I don't think they would have ever wanted to restrain you when you had injuries or something like that. We just went for war and used your troops the way they were. And the list of concerns was somebody was injured. If they could get on court, that's all you could do. And that's how we play those games.
And then after 2012, of course, you fall off the patch, and then the City Oilers announced their presence, and they have never left.
Actually, they started from 2013.
The title?
Yes.
Because they have 10?
2013, yes. 2013.
They've won 10 in a row.
After Warriors, no other team has ever won.
Okay, you put it well.
After
Warriors, no other team has ever won. That's City Oilers.
That's City Oilers.
From the sidelines, what should the other clubs do to stop City Oilers?
What
should the other clubs do to stop City Oilers?
You see, most of the focus that happens in basketball, especially the league, is the concentration on what happens on the basketball court. And that's why they lose it all. Because City Oilers are very frugal. They used to be frugal when they are doing their shopping. They never went for every good mango on the street. They're so methodical with their signing. Most of the other clubs are not learning anything. Because there was a time when City Oilers would have had the Stephen Okiasis, the Norman Blicks, but they were restrained.
Yeah.
But if you look at the history of most of the clubs that are challenging City Oilers, there's a rotation of players. All these stars have played for power. If you look at, even right now, the challengers, these people have played for this team, played for the other team, now we want them also. So there's no attachment to the teams. I would tell people the biggest difference between City Oilers and all the other clubs, and not the new players City Oilers keep bringing in. At that point, I would tell them it's Jimmy Nabu, Oxy, those guys were perennially there. Because it had the identity that we had with Warriors, that this was our club. Like there are those points in the game when you need to own up the fight and say, this is my fight. I can't give up on this.
Yeah.
And now most of the other clubs are only hiring the mercenaries.
The players are going through the cycle.
Yes, going through the cycle, this team, next team. So they don't have this attachment to the club that makes them, step up. When the challenge gets up, if a gauntlet is thrown out there and you pick it right up and say, I'm here.
Do you think Blazers are close to that? To sense of belonging to the club?
No. They have new players this year.
Yeah, they do.
They have new players from City Oilers.
But they
okay, it's professional. You have to think of the professional aspect of the player. Of course, you want to think him that I'm now playing for Blazers and I have to give it my all. Okay, it's there here. Like I'm telling you, there are those points.
One of the long-standing ones is Mwanguhya. Of course, he's now.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I was actually excited hearing that he's still there because I'm really always excited. Somebody who is, we hedged on the team, who has been there carrying, who will have to guide guys that look, you're all big guys, but like we had our captain. Most people don't actually mention him a lot, Judo Cheng.
Yeah.
But all the superstars who came from that team respected him,
yes.
his work ethic, because all the Normans who would come would respect him, his work ethic. And yes, sir. When he would speak, he had this voice because what he gave for the club, when he came for training, when he played games, you would really see somebody who was leading, even especially for his size. So having a Mwanguhya there who is going to be scoring, and he's going to have that presence on the team and tell them, this is what we believe in, this is what we're aspiring to get, guys. We can't derail right now. We must move at this pace. It's a good thing, yeah.
Let's talk at some of the legendary moments from your career, which most of the people who followed your career would actually remember. I remember one, 2014, a regular season game. You dropped 21 points, 5 of 7 from deep. That was a regular game. One of those you remember. But then there is that dunk. There's that dunk in 2009 against the late Oxy. That dunk that the crowd lost it.
Yeah.
You lost it. And then you did your brush off celebration, and then it was crazy. You won that. That's the final game, 4-2 against Power, 2009.
Yeah.
That dunk. Everyone who watched the series, everyone in basketball talks about that dunk. Just take us back.
Basketball is sometimes defined by those moments. A buzzer three-pointer and a monstrous dunk. It's supposed to subdue the opponent. You step on them and say, look, I own you now. It's a very big statement.
Yes.
And that time I used to be high flying.
Yeah.
And getting that pass from Ronnie, and especially at that moment in the game, it was a very big statement because we were having this seesaw of scoring. We scored a score. It was small margins actually, or small margins. And having that dunk, at that point when you have the crowd erupting, even for you, just the players on court, like it uplifts you. Now you feel that energy. Now you feel that, like you predator of sorts going after prey. Yes, it was a big dunk.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a couple of them, but that at the moment when you came.
In the closing moments.
In the closing moments.
And then you just dashed back immediately to defend.
Yeah, guys blame me later on because I was supposed to savor the moment, like hang on the hoop a little bit, and and they're blaming me. You should have done that. Next time you done, savor the moment, and you're just thinking of the trophy.
The trophy.
Before before we could get a hand, like I told you, the process was long. Seniors rode through, those serpentine, gridlock, and every moment you're thinking of the trophy. Yeah.
First, make for us that celebration, the tap and
it's right, left, right again. Then it's done.
What is it about? What is it about?
It's hard to like. It's done. I'm in control. Yeah, I'm in control.
Oh my man. Of course, at this time we are coming through 2016. 15, 17, but I'll go to 2016. That's the time when the heart perhaps wanted, but the body was saying otherwise. And that season, Warriors were eliminated by UCU Cannons in the quarters, 2-1. And you played only 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
I never forget.
You'll never forget that. Coach Samuel Ball was in charge at the time.
Yeah.
And you spent most of the time on the bench.
Yeah, I did.
That must have been quite
First, it's not just about ego. So I didn't like how rigid he was, because there were times it called for him to change approach. So we were heading to those finals. I remember we trained hard a Saturday and we're playing the next day, and you're having a rotation of 7 guys, and you had people on the bench who could still deliver. Not at 100% that they used a million years ago, but at that level you could manage their minutes and they could manage their time and know their limits and how much they can actually give at that point. So it was disheartening that you're rotating 7 tired guys, and then you could have brought in fresh legs. I just didn't like his coaching philosophy at that time. I think that broke us down.
Did he explain to you?
No, he never did. That was also the issue, because you want to see, the problem was this: long play on the team, and if you're going to coach to ask the coach, question him, it felt like I was trying to lord over him because I'd been in the club. So you restrain yourself and think, okay, let's look at the bigger picture. But what was the bigger picture? The championship. And were we doing making the right decisions at that time? I don't think so, but it was an ego thing. That's the time when I felt like there were big egos in the team at that point, and you didn't want to scratch somebody's ego and then send the wrong messages to the team and maybe to the crowd out there. So we just wanted to carry some battles of yours inside and say, let's see what happens.
Did it get to your head? Did it get to your head?
It never, like I'm telling you, you start to question, especially, but you wouldn't want, every time I would tell myself, like all the times I've played, especially the Kyambogo team, like when you're an established player, you don't want to carry these airs of, I demand this play time, I demand this. We didn't have that mentality in Warriors, actually. So even in playtime, you wouldn't want to tell the coach, I want to play more than you're giving me. So you want to just send subtle messages to him, maybe by putting up more time, saying, hey, Chief, you see what I'm turning over here, I think you need to appreciate it and maybe reward it. So that's the only way you could communicate. We didn't have these communication channels when you as a team. Like it just happened earlier on with the Warriors. It would have been so easy for me to walk to any person and say, no, you are this wrong with this. The kind of the setup that came up later on, the layers of leadership and how the communication channels were altered to that. And the communication wasn't that good at that point.
But also deep down, you realized that time was coming.
Yeah.
The time was coming, and this is 2016. You wanted to play an extra season, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
What happened?
They talked of coaching. You see, like I've told you, reflect. First, you're feeling you want to play.
Yeah.
I remember even when I announced to guys that now I'm retiring, and a couple of guys, no. We've seen you shoot 3-pointers. We still want to see those 3-pointers. Come on, man. You can't give. Okay, you're not going to dunk as you used to dunk then, but those 3-pointers are a big deal for us, and the celebration. And you're thinking, yeah, like I think in the transition of most of the basketballers, I actually thought about it when I looked at Vince Carter, high flyer. Then he started shooting the threes, and that became now his identity later on in his career, shooting threes and maybe providing to other players. So you think you can actually still have a part to play, just to redefine yourself and look at your roles. What can you play now that you used not to play then, or from your set of skills, what can you build on now to to achieve the result. So I was thinking in that way, but when the suggestion of being a coach came up, I was thinking, okay, from Ambrose, I was thinking, okay, I might want to play, but my ability to deliver, to give, or to achieve, or to express whatever I want to express will depend on the coach. And I don't think I might have that backing from the coach, to give me that latitude of exploring or maybe defining myself, or maybe seeing my failings now that I'm aging, that what are my limits? Can I try to edge over them and see what I can achieve? I knew I couldn't do that anymore, but I felt the transition to coaching also was a sort of recognition of the effort. Like someone is saying, now we want you in this role. And you think, okay, this is growth for the team and personal for me. And this is also recognition that now you've done this part, we want you to do this part. And you think, okay, this is exciting, this new territory, I can explore it now. Yeah, that's how it felt.
Okay. And then, of course, you also did some coaching at Seta High.
Yeah, that was
Vienna
before.
College.
I've always coached.
Namiriango.
Namiriango, Vienna College. I've actually coached in a lot of schools at that time.
Yeah.
At that time, unlike now, it was hard to get, this sort of connection with the team, like a contract where you think, like the Nelsons had in Nabisonsa, like you're their coach for an extended period of time. Most of the schools didn't have that because of their programs. Sometimes they called you for a term, maybe 1 year, then next time they have different, projects or approach to maybe a new headmaster and not thinking of sports, so you're not there anymore. So you didn't have this attachment to school, but I coached a couple of schools, really many by that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The coaching badges, when you became assistant coach at Warriors, that's 2017.
Yeah.
Did you have coaching badges?
Yeah, we did the level 1. Yeah, we had the French. Yeah. We had the French facilitator who was around at that time, who took us through. Yeah, there was Olympic solidarity course also that came in. Yeah, we had a couple of them. Even way before that, the coaching courses that we had done. Okay. Because we were recognized for coaching high school, so you had to improve on your, what you had in your set. And
how was the experience of making tough calls as a player? When a coach makes tough calls, you don't want to know. You want to be on coach. Yeah. This time you were the one now with their coach Ronnie Kasewu, right? Making the tough decisions.
I think some of the personal disappointments were the players were not built like we were. So my mindset was I was dealing with people coming from my experience of the game and my abilities of people who were around me. And I was looking at people who were having a different mindset. So you'd be frustrated as a coach because you knew if you're trailing in a game, you want to score. So it was easier for you to go the next, get on court and think we need to score, go and score. And when we failed in a game, we had the thing with coach and with my captain, Jude. If we lost in the game, he would analyze for me on phone, he would call you and tell you, you didn't work out hard, or you were hesitant in the game, you're not the dominant person you used to be. So we would call you and tell you, okay, let's get on court. And so we would go early, sometimes as early as 3 in that heat, competing or throwing up the shots and just talk about the game. That was special as a player. You had the way of dealing with the loss of failure or defeat because you're working out on court and talking about it and seeing how you would go beyond that. But now here you're just doing the talking and trying to direct the mindset or to guide these guys, and it's not working well for you because different mindset, they are now built differently from the way you built. Yeah, that was the biggest disappointment.
Did you guys also watch these NBA players, the kind of routines they go through, Mamba mentality, to keep you going? Like, what kept you going?
What kept me going? When we're playing?
Yes, as a player.
Yeah, we did. We didn't have as much access to the net at that time when we were 99, 2000,
But I remember still people at school used to wake up at 3 to watch NBA.
Yes. But you see, for us, you watch the guys do something and you challenge yourself to do it. And we didn't have this big collection of coaches to take us through. So basically, you depended much on your own and define what you wanted to put up to add on to your skill set. That's different now, because then it was do yourself, and it was better that way. You pushed yourself to do something. Now you're telling somebody you got to do this, and they're thinking something else. But I remember the first time I watched, I think it was 2001 All-Star. And I remember Tracy McGrady throwing that ball on the board, on backboard, and dunking it. Thank you, sir. I told him. Thank you, sir. Because I have a small palm, I can't palm that ball. So I always had to jump higher than most guys. So getting that thing, when I had to just get close to the hoop, put it, into the D, put it on board, and then just score it, because I could always go up. Yeah. Thank you. I remember the very next day at YMCA, I did it over Nimrod. You'll never forget. Nimrod Kaboha, because he saw me approaching this. Then I flipped and said, "What? Where did you see that?" It was something new at that time. I was proud of it that I'd seen it on TV, and then I was putting it. It really worked out fine. So after that, I kept doing it. Yeah, we were watching. People who watch, you could see it. Everybody in their position. I remember Henry Malinga, his footwork.
Oh, yeah.
The dream. That's the dream thing.
His footwork. In the D, he was
the footwork. Just not as tall as Juan. Kimo as Juan, yeah.
Go on.
That was the inspiration for him. And for me, the inspiration was just watching guys who could rebound too. But also personally, because we didn't have access much to the NBA guys, all that highlight film watching. I remember in my position, you're seeing what Norman was doing, what Omony was doing, the ball handling, and you think, okay, that's a good thing, and it's good for me to add on that. And then you went and worked on it.
Do you ever get to speak to them, listen to them about the game during that time? Like speak to Omony, speak to Norman?
No. There was that ego thing. You didn't want to show him, I'm looking up to you. No. You want to stand your own and say, okay, I'm watching him from the distance. And,
okay. Yeah. But you knew deep down.
Of course, that's respect. There was that mutual respect. I knew what he could do.
Yeah.
And they knew what I could do. So, sometimes you'll talk like that bant after the game, like one day, at that time, there used to be a fruit center where we go for juice. And then Norman will tell you guys about things that you do. Like, you bypass him and you think you've left him behind, and you just hear, and your ball is going away. So it's a kind of, it's like somebody giving you the respect. And I knew what he could do, the pass, you had to be always awake. So, you tell guys, I would love to play with that guy because you just have to be awake.
Yeah.
That was a good thing. So everybody had his attributes, but we try to pick from that. I don't know if they ever picked anything from It'd be flattering.
I will ask them. Steve, how hard is it to be a successful sports person in Uganda?
Let's talk about the improbable and impossible. Improbable, impossible. The challenge. There are so many challenges. Only that now that because there are bursaries, the car's been oiled up a bit. The bursaries have really come big deal, and clubs give something. But imagine when you're starting out personal as you transported yourself to the games, you transported yourself to training, you bought your own shoes, your own sneakers over and over again. So there's that financial challenge, of course. And then the fact that it doesn't, pay any dividends, At the time you're starting out, you're studying. And your parents are trying to direct your career path. And you're also trying to think of your career path. And everybody is telling you this is a no-go area because it goes to there's no end to it. I mean, there's no reward from it, so don't go there. So there's that challenge, first of all, the mindset in society. It's not something that is valuable in your life because they don't see any dividends coming in. There's that challenge. Then managing your body, keeping, the right body at the time, working out and making sure you're not engaging in anything that negative to your growth in your career. Then also just the time. Because when you break out of school, work, you think of getting a job and, bring these two together, work, and it's not a job that's related to your playing. So basically the job will demand all your time, playing will demand all your time. So that balance is challenged. Sometimes you can't manage it. Yeah.
But I don't know if you know this. You've left quite an impact in the game.
Wow.
When you studied at St. Kalema, right?
Yeah, I did.
I have some friends who studied there and played basketball.
Okay.
They say they actually played the game because of you and Julio Balemwa, Richard.
Okay.
You were great inspirations. When you hear such, how does it make you feel?
You can't describe. You see, first we didn't have the luxury of having video of how you played and much of what you did. So many moments in a game that, like now you talk about that dunk, you'd want to really have that. There are a couple of dunks really I had that I remember and I wish they were on video.
There
are a couple of moments, so many shots that you threw and you want to show somebody. That's it.
I did that.
That's where that shock yourself.
Yeah.
So now our heroics are captured from people's memories, what they remember us doing and how it impacted them and how they saw it and impacted the game and how it impacted the team itself in winning. So you get that, and it's a good feeling. Also because once you start work, there's that distance that's created between you and that past of playing, because now it didn't feed into what you're doing. maybe some of us who are now working in sports, connected field, but it doesn't feel so. Getting someone, like it happens a lot on the street, get someone who tells you that, oh, okay, you're legend, do you know that? It's a real thing because you get used to
How do you feel? How do you feel?
It's good to be reminded of what you did. It's good to be reminded that it didn't go to waste. At least there's something that you carry with you that you're proud of. Because it's good to have guys hold you such high acclaim. Yeah, that's how it feels. So good, really. Okay. And to be an inspiration is also a big deal. There are young guys, like when I coached Marco Pio in Warriors in 2017, all the time we would tell you, if I could just get a quote of what you did, that would be a big deal for me. And you're looking at someone who is having all this skill, thinking of getting a quote of what you had, and that gives you when you're reflecting, and you think, so what did I have? Like now you can now have at least some semblance of measure of what it really was, because you don't have the highlight reel.
Yeah. And then you now retire, again transition into coaching immediately. And we know Steve now is moved on. And 2019, Steve turns up with old-timers in the lower division.
Yeah. Old-timers guys, run by guys I had played with earlier on in the league, in Warriors.
Yes.
Yeah, so the guys who had retired mainly because of work. Most of them retired early because of work. Most of them were working out of Kampala. They're like Sitakanga Andrew was working in Hoima Masindi, something like with Stambik. Tony was always moving to Mbarara, wherever. And they formed that team. Like, it was supposed to be, I think, because from the data I've shared with them, it was supposed to be like a platform creating a feeder point for Warriors. That's what they are. So when I had, like I told you, some guys who thought I could really still throw some 3-pointers. So like, come and be part of our team. We need somebody to lead the team. And that's how I went to play. And the deal was just that you won't have to train as hard as in the NBA. So don't worry.
Just show up.
Yeah, just show up.
And then it created one of the moments. 3 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Playoff. If you put that in, old-timers are coming to the league and you miss it.
NBL.
NBL.
The biggest disappointment, why it keeps in my mind a lot, weighs so heavy on me, was I got the ball at places where I'm a predator. Like, those are my points. I never miss at such points. But I missed. That's why it weighs heavy. If it had been, some situation where I know this is not my specialty, this is not my special point, but it was on my special point, just on the elbow there, I remember. Yeah, when I'm talking about, I'm actually picturing that point at YMCA right now. So that's why it weighs heavy. And, being in a team, I was one of the go-to guys, even when I was retired, but the ambition forced me to put in more time, working out. And it was disappointing. First, you failed to help the team, so it takes you back to those fights with Warriors, and you think, I don't like this feeling. Yeah.
And how did you recover from that?
Shell, the one who played with in high school. I remember after a game came and said, I'll send you a clip. Michael Jordan missed more than you have ever missed. Just that one statement. Okay, so you carry the heaviness of loss, but you think most guys are in this situation. Yeah, guys who have even put in more time than me. So it happens. So you carry it like that.
Yeah, and of course, going through all this, of course, the injuries, the game itself, it takes a lot from your family.
Yeah, it does.
Because you are not available.
Indeed.
But still, you need that structure, that support from family.
Yeah, indeed.
In this whole thing, who is, of course, your sister, you told me, watched
my sister,
basketball,
my young brother.
A young brother as well. But
not young, actually younger.
Younger
than in comparison, actually, not young anymore. Because we are all adults now.
Yeah, so there must be, do you have a family of your own, or children, a wife,
I have
the support
children.
system? Yeah.
I have 2 children. Unfortunately, I'm no longer staying with the mom.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're in communication, so we have an amicable relationship where we are not together anymore. but we are raising the kids together, and so we have no problem with communication. Yeah.
Are we talking boys, girls?
There is a boy. There were twins. One passed on a month after. Yeah. He's 8 now, and then there's a girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because we're not staying together with the mom now, so I'm with the boy, and she's with the girl. So we communicate a lot on phone. Yeah. Then
Which classes are they?
the boy is in P3 now, going to P3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he playing basketball?
No. I started working on him. Yeah. I got him a ball.
Okay.
He's playing just at the lower level.
Okay.
Yeah, just like kids.
Do you want to push him into things, or you're letting him?
I am. Of course, sometimes you think I don't want to, to impose my life on him, what I did in my life, but each time I'm going to coach, like sometimes I go coach primary kids, he's getting a ball, he's playing with them, and you're thinking, I'm actually equipping other kids to get an opportunity, and I should give him the opportunity to, never know, maybe a decision he'll make, and I should arm him. So that's how it's going. So he's taking the baby steps.
Wow.
Hopefully.
This is quite interesting. And to all our viewers of the Game of Life, to remember to subscribe on YouTube. Just click that subscription button, because when you do that, you actually support us, improve the show quality-wise, but also bring you as many more quality guests as possible. Now, Stephen, you studied literature?
Bachelor of Arts in Arts.
Bachelor of Arts in Arts, but majoring in
English.
Literature and English.
Yeah.
You know that means only one thing. You owe us a book. You need to rate us a book.
Indeed.
Eh?
Indeed.
You should rate us a book.
Should.
I mean, literature and English. That laugh, before we forget, just tell us about that laugh.
It's described in a million ways.
Okay.
I don't want to bring this. I know guys will be laughing. They will be killing. I will get calls.
You know this is going on.
Yeah. I know it's going out. It's right. Sometimes you're calling guys and you're destroying my spoons. They're falling down. My plates are falling down off the rail. Stop laughing.
Okay.
Yeah, the laugh has been there, I think, right from childhood. Only that maybe when my voice deepened, it sounded more deep. But it's been there.
Is there some story to it, or it's just you?
It's just me.
Just you.
Just me, yeah.
Okay. Let's get back to the game. Basketball and funding. We know the most funded federation in the country is Fuba.
Fuba, yeah.
17 billion. It's been fluctuating, COVID here and there, but yeah, they're still the best. Do you think Fuba or basketball are getting enough funding and support from governments?
Nah, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Just the league alone, it speaks volumes that the champion takes 5 million. Like look at the squad that the NAM Blazers. Look at their squad. So you must think of their wage bill. What would the 5 million do? Not even maybe 2 months taking off their wage bill. So that already tells volumes. And the funding, it's really, you can't really give it a very good picture right now, but it's meager. It's not big. Because sometimes you think of what Fuba should accomplish. Sometimes you want to blame the people running the federation for falling short. But most of the things, especially now that I'm in management, most of the things that you want ask of them will demand money.
Yeah.
They will really demand money, and it's not money. It's not there. So it's bigger. We don't have the courts. We don't have, it's only Lugogo. Sometimes when there are events happening, they have to look for. And when it rains, there are all those issues. Yeah, so just the facilities alone, there's a problem. Yeah, then the funding, you can see what happens to our national teams. We should be able to create, a process where we follow up these kids right from their childhood. If like people who play under 17, under 19, under 18, there should be a process that follows them up, but it's not there. So because there's no funding, first, even the commitment from the people taking part in it, the coaches, the players, it's divided. Because now you have to think of earning a living out of basketball. That already takes your time out, that you should have committed to the growth of the game, growth of the team that you're in. That affects basketball at an entirety. Then the league also, growth is there. Like right now, I'm working at International University of East Africa. I'm also coaching the basketball team. And we've struggled through the last 3 years to just join the league to come back. And now that we are coming back, the other day I was at Fuba and I met somebody I played with a long time, and he's saying they are running the North and East League. And they don't have this
Where is that?
It's Lira.
Okay.
He told me there are teams from Tororo, Mbale, Soroti, Lira, and Gulu. And he told me they don't actually get that much support from Fuba. And I was telling that you can actually think about it. Maybe they would want, or I'm not so sure, maybe they might not want to be committed. But there's also financial implication if they are to be involved, because they have to send people to follow it up. The logistics might be a problem, and it's definitely a problem. And so if you ask for Fuba, like, what are you doing the grassroots? How are they going to get the resources to fund the grassroots? So they can only have academies that tell them, come and give us your reports, what's going on, but they don't really have that financial muscle to marshal it all up. But it's really minimal. It's not really a big deal.
Since we are talking the national team, but of course you have to agree that there's been some improvement, especially on the national team.
Big improvement.
Let me
give you the picture.
Yeah.
A couple of times we trained when we were still playing for the national team. Going, I remember there was a tournament that was in Rwanda, and I remember they told us we would go, and we carried our luggage to YMC and waited, and it got dark and there was nothing coming, and we had to go back home. That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. And even when I see them, it's something small, but when I see them kitted just for training,
beautiful, looks good.
And they're looking pimped up, they really look pimped up. Really see the picture of the national team. Yeah. I think we have made huge leaps. They go for a couple of tournaments and they really put up a fight.
The other day we were in Germany.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we could just go to Germany, we could get opportunity to go to Germany just for exposure, the facilities, and maybe sharing with those people, them giving you what they think about the game, those nuggets of advice. That was also a big deal. I liked it. And when they go sometimes to Egypt, that's growth. We couldn't get transport at that time when we were playing, just transport to go for training. And now they are going to Egypt. That's growth.
And generally, women basketball is now.
I like that. In my it's personal opinion, I feel like the women basketball has leaped over the men's basketball, and even their commitment to the growth of the game. Like, I was seeing what the commissioner was doing, what they do in Lugogo. If you realize there are actually more tournaments organized by the ladies than by the guys, and you're having more accomplished players who are attached to teams who are ladies. Way back when we were playing that time, we finished school, the guys are thinking of work, ladies are getting into family, and once they get into family, there's no more basketball anymore. But now I'm seeing there's a legends team. People played back then who are coming. I was thinking, no, this is a challenge for us guys. We used to challenge. No, this is a challenge for us. Now what's the next choose? Because she will be a mother, she'll have that extra work than you, a father in the family. I feel like it's big deal. The attitude, they're just their games. Okay, there's a very big shift from where they used to be back then to now. And the leadership positions that they're also being part of now. I loved what the commissioner does. I love what this lady who organizes the ladies basketball.
The legends?
She's going to kill me. No, yeah.
I'm just forgetting her name.
Tina Mascon.
Yes.
There's the lady.
It's okay. She'll understand.
She'll kill me.
She'll understand.
Yeah, but you see, they have had a very big impact in the game. They are really maturing up the ladies. Only disappointment I have is I don't want them to, to think of we the girl child. I feel like they have reached a stage in their growth, and exposure also, where they should take on men without just having to think of that back of we are men, we're the girl child or something like that. Because there's so many opportunities that have been created. In universities, bursaries are given out fair, so you don't have only men having these opportunities. So I feel they should go for the biggest prize. That now it's like Flavio Kecha's the biggest the winner in the league.
24th season this year. And she was our first guest on the show.
And look what she has achieved.
Yeah.
I don't know how many MVPs. She's worked with the national team.
And she's still playing.
And she's still playing. And at a high level, not just, a bit part role, and at a high level.
Yeah.
You don't see that in the men's team. Okay, even if you see that they are now just a few scattering of players. But ladies' game has really come up so high, and it's good to see it happen that way.
It's really impressive,
very impressive
for the ladies.
Indeed.
Let's talk still the national team. During your time, there were not as many opportunities to play like today. If Steve, you were playing, the Steve of then was playing now, you'd be, you'd have been at Afro Basket.
That's what I think. Because I'll tell you, look at my role. Yeah, okay, good. I was a rebounding beast, but I was always played out of position. I always had to play 5 an extended period of time. So I never got, that opportunity to specialize on my favored number 3. And I feel like kids are now getting that chance these days. And then with our passion at that time, and then the support that is coming from clubs and the federation also, it would have been massive. I want to think what would have happened to my shot that it was at that level, and then I could have had more time and more reason to play. It would have been really impressive. I don't feel like people really go to see the best of us. Maybe just the tip of the iceberg, and that's the disappointment.
I like
it. With you. Indeed.
Yeah, but you have now someone in P3. Perhaps he will come through and complete the job.
That's the dream. Hopefully.
Well, Steve, locally there must have been someone you looked up to and said, yes, that guy inspires me into this game.
Nah.
Or none? Oh.
Like I'm telling you, it wasn't that in a single person. It's just that somebody had this skill set that I wanted to adopt in my game. Because I would always share with it, even when I'm coaching right now. I tell guys, okay, now I can rebound more than no man. If I can try to get the dribbling, like that was the mindset. If I can get the dribbling, I block and rebound more than him. If I get the dribbling, he doesn't have my rebounding. So that puts me at a certain pedestal. And so there are so many guys. Henry was posting. Then I'm playing number 5. So little post moves that, you're watching them do their thing and you're learning from that. Yeah, but we didn't have the luxury of, these guys, because we're playing with them. The guys you had to really look up to at that time, they're not really that many. Yeah.
And of course, it takes a lot, sacrifices and all, playing this game. How much of that? Because it goes beyond the training with the team, individually, as a player. What more do you do? And by this I mean, we have most of, athletes today, or a good number, when they are done with the official training, they go home, wait for the official training. But guys from then days went beyond what the official training is. They put in their own work. Is that the kind of ethic that you guys had as well, or you just trained with Warriors, went home? Did you do any extras?
Training, basketball?
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, of course. I'm telling you, we used to go there midday. There's so many guys who used to find me. Like, especially when you had maybe a loss or 1 or 2 and things are not working out well, and you're thinking, okay, I didn't make more of my shots. I should really improve on the training. I was not catching my breath right. I need to work out more. So you put up more minutes. Yeah, so we did that. Many of us did that. Like I tell you, we had time with Jude. Yeah, we had time with Jude.
Now, Stephen, we have a very beautiful tradition here. Okay. At the end of the show, our current guest, who is you, gets to give a piece of advice or word of wisdom to the next guest. Now, remember, you do not know the next guest. And he left this message for our next guest. I'll read it verbatim. He said, "We only live once. It's important to do things that will make you happy. Things that at the end of the day, you look back to and you are happy that you contributed to something. Things, be known for your works and speak to your values." I know that's quite a mouthful, but literally what he's saying is, do things that you won't regret.
I get.
And live true to your values. So, you do not know our next guest.
Yeah.
What piece of advice would you give them?
I think the piece of advice,
if you could just get closer to the mic so they hear well.
The piece of advice I would give to the person, like I would share any human being, is that In the course of our life, pursuit of maybe career or whatever we get involved in, there's something that you get empowered with. Like basketball has given me a chance to be whatever I achieved out of it. It's given me the character, the personality, now the reputation. It's so important that at some point we reflect on what you have achieved and filter out the negatives and think this is the positive, this is what I want society to see me as, and this is what I can share with the society for the youth. Because sometimes I've had basketball. Right now I'm actually trying to get into the academy thing where I can impart to the young. We need to share with the young, what we went through as something that will give them how to build their own dreams and visions and learn from what we went through. So what advice I would give to somebody is that there's something you learned from life, something life from opportunities you had that you could share with everybody that will make the world a very good place. And that could reward you in a way that is not financial, that inspired somebody.
Wow. Stephen Okiasi.
That's my name.
The one and only Nomo Mulalu. Thank you for your laugh.
Thank you.
For your truth and for your time. You are truly the game of life.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too.
Follow us, like us on all social media handles, but also press that subscription button on YouTube.